The New Orleans Saints versus the Los Angeles Rams tonight on Thursday Night Football. Welcome to the Road to Millions, Andy and Steve. WagerTalk.com. We are going to go over our Thursday Night Football best bets, but more importantly, it's Team Total Thursday.
Sir.
We're going over our team totals for our favorite NFL plays for this weekend. We'll go over some NHL and NBA props. A lot of games tonight. Not sure if there's a ton of great spots. We'll look at it. We got your sneaky play of the day and the stat of the day. Thanks, everyone, for joining us while we're going over all this gambling content. Please hit the like button and leave us a comment. Make it something positive. You guys know we start our show with positive vibes from the audience and really good feedback from yesterday's Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame, Steve. The Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame was hilarious. Thanks, Vegas D's. You remember that Chargers backup I was talking about? Michael Turner. Remember Michael Turner? Was a backup in San
Yeah,
Diego, and then
I
went
do
to
remember
yeah,
Atlanta
went to the
right after.
Falcons. Yeah,
Someone also brought up Sproles though. He was
Sproles
there.
was a great one.
He was with Tomlinson for a while as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I was Turner was the one you were thinking of though, and that's who I would have came to eventually if we would have
yeah,
sat there long
yeah.
enough.
I played in a fantasy football league where I discovered that you got points for punt and kickoff return yardage as well as running backs. So I
Sneaky.
picked up Sproles, and I think I ran the table that year because Sproles ended up being like the number one running back because he returned kickoffs and punts. So like
Yeah, that's
every game he'd have like 150 return yards. They changed that rule the next year,
yeah.
shockingly.
Those days are over.
As far as a TD record, broken especially with a coach like Shanahan that cares about stuff like that. Exactly. Oh, he brings up a good one. Remember Gurley had that huge year where he scored a bunch of touchdowns?
Yeah,
Oof. Poor Todd
yeah.
Gurley. Oh man. That's a sad story. Dion, where can you see stats that show who allows the most assists to centers? It's pretty easy. All I do is just Google NBA defense by position, and there's everything's out there. Steve, you like Fantasy Pros? I use a bunch of them. I like Fantasy Pros too, but
Yeah, it
that's
has
all free stuff. It's not that's not a secret or anything.
Yeah, it has a nice chart on there though that organizes it all by position, and it's all really self-explanatory. But if you look up NBA stats by position, like you said, you'll find a bunch of them.
Can I give a little caution with those stats? It's great to look at those stats, and it's certainly like a little filter, but it doesn't tell the whole story because you don't know A, what the lineups are going to be tonight, and B, and what the lineups that they faced. So it's it's a decent little gauge, but it's certainly not something that I would go all in on and say, well, this is the number one like factor. It's there's got to be other things. I don't know if you agree with that.
100%. Yeah, when you look at it, you almost have to like then do the second step of like who did they face to get if they're number one against rebounds, you know what I mean, the best against rebounds, who did they face? Did they face teams that weren't very good rebounding teams or position wise or whatnot? But yeah, you got to do that like next level step of like investigating as well.
Yeah, it'll get you pointed in the right direction, but you gotta keep going with it. Larry Johnson, 416 carries. Will Chamberlain, 55 rebounds. Yeah. There's LT and Sproles were together. So, and Night Stalker played Grunstrom over 1.5 shots on goal. I didn't check to see how that one did. Hope that one hit for you. All right. Before we get into all of our plays, real quick, guys, promo code birthday 30, $30 off a 7-day pass was $99 discounted to $69. We are on a 79-45 all sports run. Number one, 7 days, 31-11 in NFL, 13-4 in college football. It has been an unbelievable run since the beginning of November. So we're hoping to finish out this year strong. And since it's my birthday on Saturday, let's celebrate. Use the promo code birthday 30, $30 off a 7-day pass. It includes all sports, all percentages. If your guys' 7-day pass runs out, great time to renew that since we're rocking and rolling in darts and we still got a couple more weeks of that along with NFL and college football. So, all right, Steve, let's get into team total Thursday. I like the Bengals over. I like the Titans under. And you like the Ravens over. And you like the Broncos under.
Under.
Yeah, so I'll go first. This one was the play that jumped out to me. I don't understand why the Bengals are under 21.5, but if it stays there, this is absolutely going to be a client play. We'll start with the Bengals and Jake Browning. All he's done is put up 34 against Jacksonville, 34 against the Colts, and 27 in overtime against Minnesota. The guy's 3-1. He's better than half the starters on some of these teams right here. I don't get it. So I'll happily take the Bengals. And then who is he facing? A Pittsburgh team that, boy, do they look like they've given up. They just gave up 24 to Arizona, 21 to your Patriots, and 30 to my Colts. Steve, if you're giving up 30 to my Colts and 21 to your Patriots, your defense is kind of mailed it in there. Kind of mailed it in. That's all right. They made a big quarterback change. I'm sure that'll solve everything. Mason Rudolph is coming in. I think this offense isn't going to be able to hold the ball very much, and for the Bengals to only need over 19.5. I already checked the weather. Weather should be really, really good, for like almost to 50 for this weekend. So,
Nice.
yeah, I like the Bengals over, and to me, it wasn't even a debate what my favorite over was for this week. So, your favorite over, the Ravens, going for the marquee game of the week, over 20.5 against 49ers. What do you like about this one?
Has a lot to what they do. What has a lot to do with what they do against the NFC. 38, 31, 37, and 37 against these NFC teams. I know it's something you've mentioned before, right?
Love it.
Yeah, I know it's something that you've been on that train before. I just don't think these NFC teams know what to do with Lamar Jackson, essentially. And then the 49ers, they're a strong defense, but they allowed 29 to Arizona just last week. And there's a lot of question marks on the defense right now. Armstead and Hargrove, both questionable, along with Lenore in the secondary. And then the Ravens, they went over in 8 of their last 9 games. The one they fell short was against the Chargers, where they scored 20. It's a lot. This one's a lot about the number, too. Getting it at 20.5. 21.5, I'm not on board with it. But just to get to 21 when they're scoring, a minimum of 31 against NFC teams this season, 38, 37, 37. These NFC teams just don't seem to know what to do with them. And the 49ers, I'm sure they're going to do a better job than the Lions and some of these other teams that have faced the Ravens. But we don't need 30 here. We just need 21.
Love it. Yeah, I was listening to a radio show, and they actually talked about this 2 days ago. They said like an NFL GM, like anonymous, was like if you've never seen Lamar Jackson, the first time you see him, you don't know what to do. It's all of a sudden it's 20-0, and you're like, what just happened? Like, we cannot keep up with him. So love that one for you, Steve. Love the Ravens over in that game. Titans under 20.5. Will Levis is hurt. Ryan Tannehill is taking first. Wasn't he like supposed to be out for the year or something? Like, what happened here?
Yeah, I thought so too.
So you've got Will Levis who's banged up, and we're not that impressed with Will Levis at this point. And I'm not sure what Ryan Tannehill has left, because Ryan Tannehill's injury was a leg injury. Wasn't it like a leg or an ankle? How can he be back in shape? So I'm not sure about this one. Last week they lost 19-16 to the Houston Texans, and they faced Seattle. I mean, Seattle, isn't that the biggest win of the season pretty much by far? Last week, beating the Philadelphia Eagles, they win 20-17. I know Philly's banged up and struggling, but you hold the Philadelphia Eagles to 17 points. I think you can hold the Titans and whoever's at quarterback to 20.5. So I just don't trust this Titans team, especially with the injuries to quarterback. I still don't know how Will Levis is walking. I watched that play. I was watching it live, and immediately I sent a message to Corbin. I was like, "Oh my God, Will Levis's leg, man!" And the announcers are like, "We're not going to show the replay. It was too brutal." And there he is walking off the field.
I hope he's okay physically, but the guy's become my arch nemesis essentially. With the last week, he burns me now in a different way. I cannot get anywhere near this guy ever again. As far as an official play in my life, I'm like 0-5 when I took his overs, he went under. When I took it, then I go to under, he went over. Hopkins over last week, I was so confident in it. They looked like they had a great connection the week before. Low total on Hopkins. I get burnt on that one as well, so I'm staying clear of Will Levis and whenever he does return.
Patrick Reed is my guy, golfer. He's on the Live Tour, so I think luckily I can't bet on him anymore. I've bet on that guy for 10 years. I'm probably like 2-20. Just like oh no, he's gonna do really good. Misses the cut. Like, I'm fading him this week. Wins the tournament. So infamously, Patrick Reed was the golfer who he was at home. His wife pointed out something on the TV, and he said, "I can't see that." And his wife was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "No, I can't see the TV." So she took him to lens crafters. Turns out his eyesight was horrific. He gets contacts, and 2 weeks later, he wins the Masters.
Yeah,
That's
I've
the
heard that story before. Actually, yeah, that's great. That's crazy.
infamous Patrick Reed story. So, all right, you're going to the Broncos under 21 and a half. Guessing the number again has a lot to do with this one. You get 21 in the hook.
Yeah, that's the big part of it. Like I said, I'm out if it's 20.5, but at 21.5 against the Patriots defense that has held 6 of their last 7 opponents under this total. Only one that went over last week was Kansas City with 27. And then the Broncos themselves have fallen short of this total in 3 of their last 5, 17 against the Lions just last week. I trust this Patriots defense, even on the road, to hold Broncos team under 21.5 this week. Like you said, it has a lot to do with the number. At 21.5, it's a little juicy on that one to get the 21.5, but I think it's worth it to get the hook. The Ravens one, on the other hand, it's negative 110 for that number, so that's a great price for that one.
Nice. So Steve's favorite over is the Ravens. Favorite under is the Broncos. And my favorite over is the Bengals. Favorite under is the Titans. And that is your team total Thursday. Let's do NFL best bets. But first, real quick, Steve, you've been doing really well in basketball. You got a promo code. Tell everyone what you have up.
Yeah, I'm on a 12-5 NBA run, and I've also been doing college basketball player props, and I've hit my last 2 in 3 of my last 4, so I'm picking up some momentum with those as well. So I have the promo code hoops50. It gets you $50 off any 30-day basketball pass. You can get the individual sports, but I would just suggest getting the 30-day pass for both sports combined. It's really not that much of a difference in price. And then you'll get the college basketball player props along with my NBA stuff. And yeah, 12-5 NBA run, 16-8 all sports run right now. So check out that code over at sportsmemo.com.
Alrighty, let's get to Thursday night NFL best bets. Steve, you like Cooper Kupp over his receiving. Certainly looks to be getting healthy.
Yeah, he's looked great the past couple of weeks, especially 118 and 148 in the last 2 games. And Lattimore is out for this game, so it leaves an opening there for him on the outside, and he's got a good matchup in the slot as well. So it seems like a low number on Kupp for this week. I think he gets to 100 again, even against a tough Saints pass defense. But they are missing some key players in that defense as well.
What's going on with Lattimore? I I didn't see that he was out. What's his injury? Do you know?
No, I'm not sure exactly what the specific injury was. But I
That's all
did
right.
see that he was. I did
That's all
see
right.
he was
That's a
out for the
huge
game, though.
injury, though. That's a huge injury because they've been good against the pass. But if he's out, that just like changes everything with that defense. So Cooper Kupp over his receiving. I mean, there are so many guys this year that I cannot believe that we're betting on. Steve. Joe Flacco, we're betting on and
Yeah.
cashing. Jimmy Graham, what happened here? Jimmy Graham is back all of a sudden. So this guy's played 5 games, Steve, and he scored a touchdown in 4 of them. Like, and he's catching like 1 or 2 passes. So it's pretty obvious where he actually catches these passes. They're just running these red zone targets for him, and he still got it inside the red zone, I guess. I mean, remember, he was one of the guys where they just kind of ran that box out play. Him, Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham, they just run into the end zone and just block out the other guy and
Yeah.
catch it. And he's apparently they're finding ways to use him. So plus 450 in a guy that's caught a touchdown in 4 out of 5 games. I guess I'll take it. And you look at the Rams, tied for 3rd for most touchdowns allowed to tight ends. So it's not a brutal matchup for him. So some of these guys, man, like I just can't believe that we're looking at and Aaron Rodgers is out, and yet we're betting on Flacco and Jimmy Graham and some
Yeah,
of
it's
these
wild.
guys. It is really really wild. So, all right, let's get to the sneaky play of the day, the stat of the day, and then we'll look at some NBA and NHL props. Sneaky play of the day. I'm going with Josh Giddey over 21 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. So when you look at Giddey, first off, I'll take the Clippers side of it. So they played last night, as you well know, Steve. I just don't think all of those guys play. I already see Kawhi's a game time decision. And if just one of those guys sits out, I just think that this defense is completely different. The Clippers have been playing really, really well. And if there was a game to kind of rest these guys or take off, I just have this one circled as maybe this is it because Oklahoma City's playing great. Clippers have ripped off a bunch of wins in a row, so I think this might be a letdown spot for the Clippers. You look at what he's done recently at Memphis, 16, 12, and 4. Against Denver, he only played 15 minutes, went under, but before that, 18, 8, and 4, 12, 10, and 8. He went over against Golden State, 9, 9, and 4. So he's doing it across all categories, and like I said, Kawhi being a game time decision, I smell something, and now Paul George is a game time decision now. So he was out, and this one really depends. This one to me is the Clippers back-to-back situation. I think Oklahoma City is going to be revved up and ready to go for this one. I like Giddey over his PRA. Stat of the day. You're talking about my Colts, man. Normally, I'm talking about the Colts. What do you like about
Yeah,
the Colts
normally
here?
I'm leaning in. Normally I'm leaning into something Patriots, but real quick, Lattimore is it's an ankle. He's on the
Okay.
IR, placed on the IR 3 days ago with an ankle injury. I knew it was a leg
Oh,
issue. I just wasn't sure if it was knee or an ankle, but
oh,
it's
so
an
he's
ankle. He's on
done.
the
Yeah, so he's
yeah.
done.
He's yeah. So the Colts are an NFL best 11-3 to the over this season. Their team total is 21.5 in Atlanta, and Atlanta's allowed 5 of their last opponents to go over their respective team total. I think this one is a spot where the Colts can get the job done because it's indoors.
Hmm.
They score so much better when they're playing indoors. 11-3 to the over. It's pretty amazing actually. It's a team that you wouldn't really expect to be over their team total so frequently.
Interesting. So looking at the Colts possibly on the over there. So, all right, let's take a look here at some of the NBA and NHL props. We can start in the NBA. I see John Morant's already over 30 and a half points. He was 24 and a half for his return game. That didn't last long. Um, I can't really, I can't really blame anybody for taking the over against my Pacers coming off of a back to back. I guess one thing I would warn everyone is it's not necessarily a true back to back. The Pacers blew out the Hornets, and most of their starters didn't play in the fourth quarter, so they're not. It's not. It's not like their starters are coming off of 35-minute games. I think their energy is going to be just fine tonight. So finally, I benefited from a blowout. Steve, I had Buddy Hield under 4.5 rebounds. He had 4. Didn't play. Didn't play
Nice.
down the stretch. So that's we talk about. That's the nice thing about unders is you got a couple things kind of going your way. Foul trouble, injury, blowout. So finally, a freaking blowout actually helped. So
Especially in the
um,
NBA, those blowouts kill you, and the overs in the NBA are it's definitely the sport that has the most blowout potential. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what one thing about
absolutely.
college player props I've noticed is that the guys they kind of you'll see a little decrease in minutes when there's a blowout, but they kind of just generally play their minutes. You know what I mean? They're kind of for the most part it's a little
Yeah,
up
what
and
are you
down,
saving a
but
junior in college for? The guy,
yeah,
guy,
right.
juniors in college, they're indestructible. They're not playing back to backs, and so yeah. Any NBA spots you were looking at for tonight?
Yeah, I got an under spot. So speaking of unders, I have an under in points. I'm looking at Jeremy Sochan from the Spurs
Yes.
under 9.5. He's only scored 4 against the Bulls, and that was in a home game. Bulls, by the way, dead last in pace, so they're going to look to slow things down tonight. But it's more about his struggles on the road. His shooting percentage, he shoots 44% from the field at home, but only 36% on the road. And if you look at it, he's went under in 9 of 12 games this season when he's on the road. 8 of the last 10 on the road with Wembanyama in the lineup, and it looks like he's going to play tonight. He's probable, along with Johnson as well as probable tonight. So it looks like those guys are gonna come back tonight. Wemby especially will be key to this one for him to stay under. When those guys are in the lineup, he becomes like the fourth option down, and he just struggles to shoot on the road consistently under this number on the road. So give me his under 9.5 points tonight in Chicago.
Kind of feel bad for him, man. They thrust him in the role of point guard, even though that's not what he does, and it was kind of embarrassing if you ever did actually watch him play. He had no idea what he was doing, so they're moving him around. Yeah, anytime you want to fade this San Antonio team, by all means, please do, please do. So I was looking at there was a rebounds and assist, and it's DeAndre Ayton. Um, if you look at what DeAndre Ayton has been doing, I think it's kind of interesting that he went under. And you could do this with rebounds and assists, or you could even do it with points, rebounds, and assists. You see all these unders where he's not even close, and then the game he went over was against his old team, Phoenix.
The old revenge.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going with this one. Was the one game that he flew over. Definitely a very, very conceited effort to get him a bunch of points. My worry is that he's playing Washington, who is, like you said, is the gift that keeps on giving for overs. But
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of these totals: 17 against Golden State, 19 against Dallas, 23 against Utah. Utah's not that much better than Washington, and he went 21 and 23 against Utah. So I don't know. There's something going on with Ayton. He's just not getting it done recently. And I believe if you kind of look, he was getting it done a lot more towards the beginning of the season here, but it's just really tailed off, especially recently. So I don't know if Scoot Henderson coming back, if that's had anything to do with just the offense that's working a little bit weird, but I would look at DeAndre Ayton under. And I know I talked about Jokic going under his points yesterday, and he went over. When I talk about these props, I mean like play him for 10 games. Like
Yeah, for like a
that.
streak.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, Steve and I are going to talk about that when we get done talking about NBA and NHL props. We have a couple things to discuss about different strategies that he and I have learned and noticed over the last couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. So, any other NBA plays that you liked tonight?
And that was with the lineups are kind of a little wonky right now. I'm not sure who's playing in some of these games, so that was my favorite one for today. But that Ayton one, I'm on board with you for that one as well, because I was watching his last game pretty closely, because I had, for Customer Appreciation Day, I had the Grant over points, and Ayton was
Yep.
taking far too many shots for my liking in that game. And I knew he was going to take, so I knew there was some extra shots for Ayton in that one, because I considered him there too. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm on board with you on that one as well.
Yeah. I agree. At the time of recording this, we're recording this in the morning. Every game except for the Lakers and the Timberwolves pretty much has question marks all over it. And I'm certainly not betting anything on the Lakers and Timberwolves with LeBron and AD. Those guys could be ruled out 10 minutes before the game. So it's just it's a difficult day with the lineup. So no reason to push anything early in the day. NHL, a decent amount of games tonight. Unfortunately, I don't like very many of these matchups. I will talk about one thing that I talked about with Andrew on Prop It Up was these guys here where their points are 1.5. And I talked about Gensel and Crosby, that these guys are going under. And I made the joke with Andrew that like they could both go 10 games without hitting, or they could both hit it in the same game if they pass it to each other and they score. And I'll be damned, that night that's what happened. They both went over, like scoring and assisting themselves. But that's okay. And we talked about the streaks, and that's what I'm talking about with Gensel at minus 200. I mean, you play this long term over the season, you're going to be up. I know it sucks to lay minus 200, but these guys, if you stick to it, the numbers don't lie. You're going to end up coming out. And I know it's tough. I mean, but look at Sidney Crosby. He's done it 2 out of 3 games, but before that, there's like 9 games where he didn't go over it. So I'm going to continue sprinkling these client plays, all access. You guys know I've been doing those 3-0 in NBA and 3-0 in NHL in our last 6 plays by following this strategy. If you pick the right guys, so I'm going to keep focusing on these guys where the points are 1.5 and trying to pick my spots and take a really good under. Now, obviously, I'm not playing Connor McDavid or Nathan McKinnon to go under. I'm looking at these guys that go under quite a bit. So, any NHL spots that you like tonight, Steve?
Well, just really quick, yesterday we talked about Matty Beniers going under his points total, and he ended up getting. It was an official play for me, and he ended up getting an assist in the second period, so I took the L on that one. But so I'm going to be looking back towards him again if the price comes out, and we might get a better price on it now going forward. And if you look at it, I mentioned yesterday he hadn't scored a point he only scored a point in like 10 of 33 games or something like that. But looking at it, he only scored in back-to-back games twice. He had a string of a 2 and then he had a 3. So now he scored a point in back-to-back games. I'll be looking for his under again, even though the matchup isn't the greatest in Anaheim in the next game. Sometimes the matchup, I might just put that to the side, and then he's in Calgary in the next game after that. So I'll be looking towards Beniers under on his points and hopefully get a better price on it going
Love it.
forward. But
Yeah,
tonight,
just sticking with the streaks. This is what we're talking about. Like, don't worry about if it hits one night. Actually, if it hits one night, you can almost get excited because he's not going to do it like 3, 4, 5 games in a row. So you can come right back to it, and yeah, you're right. You might get a better price. I cut you off. I'm sorry. What were you going to say about tonight?
no, so I do have a shot on goal prop that I can give for tonight. Rasmus Dahlin over 2.5 shots on goal. The guy's just been lighting it up. He's went over his shot on goal prop. He's had 3 or more in his last 10 games, and that includes last 5 on the road. He had 3 against Toronto already this season, and Toronto's below average against shots on goal against defensemen. So good price on him as well tonight. I think it's negative 115 right now on DraftKings. So I'll look towards Dahlin over 2.5 shots on goal tonight as a play.
We talked yesterday about some of these teams that like don't allow a lot of goals, but allow a lot of shot on goals. And Toronto does allow a pretty decent amount of goals. They're 18th, but yeah, look at that, 33 shots on goal allowed. I mean, 28th. So yeah, they get into these matches where it's just fire away at the goal from both sides, and you end up with a ton of shots on goal. Yeah, Dahlin, man, you're right. He is absolutely on fire. So great look on that one. So we mentioned we wanted to talk a couple strategies and stuff. So I did a show by myself where I talked about I got out of my comfort zone. I did a couple bets that I really, really regretted because it was like I don't normally do those. Why would I do those? So since then, I talked about NHL and NBA, and we've been 6-0 in those bets, and it's a testament to if you're really, really good at a certain category, then just stick to those, even if you have to lay off a night. And that's kind of what has been a little bit of struggle for me is I've only been following a couple guys. But it means I haven't had plays every night. But that's okay when you go 6-0. So, Steve, you had the exact same thing happen over the weekend. So tell us about your experience there and how you kind of said the same thing.
Yeah, so it's just that classic, it's a lesson I've already learned so many times is just not to overthink things. And you want to prepare and look over every aspect of a game that you can. So I was looking at the Rams team total against the Commanders this weekend. I was looking at their team total over. I loved the spot all week. Then I kicked it around, looked at a lot of different things, was considering laying the points with the Rams. And then the more I looked at it, I ended up taking the full game total, thinking the Commanders could do their part. And just looking at it, I don't know why I did that because the Rams team total was what I liked to begin with. And then if they're going to get over, they're the favorite in the game, and I like them to cover the spread as well. So if it's going to go over the total, the Rams are going to do the most of the heavy lifting. I end up getting bit on the hook. I lose that play on the hook on a heartbreaking blocked extra point would have got us there. And it's really because the Commanders' offense didn't do their part. It's 100% why I lost is because the Commanders didn't do their part. And then I sat there and thought about it. I was like, man, I just really overthought that spot. and should have just stuck at team totals. Have been we've been strong on team totals. College football, NFL, full game totals, not so much. So just stick to my comfort zone with team totals going forward, and just stay away from that full game total like that.
It's so easy to get too cute. It's so easy to be like, I've been following a couple players, but they're not playing tonight. I'll force a play somewhere else. Or like you said, you're like, I really like this Rams team total, but what if? And it's just so easy to kind of go down that path. So keep it simple, stick with what works. And remember, it's just a results based industry. Like I know, like whenever we lose plays on just like really really bad beats, it gets frustrating. But in the end, it's all about the results based. Like if you lose a bad beat, that's fine. You can look at it and you can say I handicapped it perfectly, but it still goes down as a loss. So just remember, like it's okay to just stick with the same things that work over and over and over again. Like honestly, that's kind of the best thing that works in all businesses. You find the same thing that works, you just repeat it over and over and over again, and over long term, you're going to end up profitable. So yeah, lesson learned. Keeping it simple. Stick to what we've had success with, and I have no doubts that long term it's going to be really really successful. So we have the track record to back it up. So, but it's always important to just kind of look at these things, and when we slip up a little bit, acknowledge them and learn from them. So making a mistake is one thing, but making it over and over and over again is just really stupid. So
Yeah, and
appreciate you
I would
sharing
also,
that with us.
yeah, no problem at all. I mean, I would also add too, don't be afraid to like I mentioned Maury Sider yesterday going, and I has been playing his over 1.5 shots on goal. I had cashed it, I think 3 or 4. I used it one time. The juice was really high on it, so I combined it and made it a same game parlay, and it cashed. I used it with the brinket in a same game parlay for one of these cashes, but it cashed like 3 or 4 times in a row. And then the players for the Red Wings came back into the lineup, like I mentioned yesterday, Larkin, and I jumped off it. I played that one perfectly, so I jumped off of it right on time. Walk away 3-0, 4-0 with it. You know what I mean? And then you can move on to the next thing, and that's what I'll look to do with Beniers now moving forward. That he since I got bit with it last night, I'll hope that he doesn't have a string. He's only had a string of 2 and 3 straight games with points this season, so I don't expect him to have a string of 5, 6, 7 in a row. So I'll play him for the next couple of games, hopefully cash those tickets and walk away with the profit.
Yeah, that's what I've gotten back to with the props is not trying to figure it out night after night after night with different players. It's just the same players, play them, and when you think the streak has come to an end, you jump off. And what we always go back to American Gangster: quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting. So
I love that one.
sometimes I love it. I love it. It's so applicable to what we do with props betting. Ride the streak, and then just find the next one. So. Awesome stuff, guys. Real quick, hit the like button and please leave us a comment. Tell us what's going good for you and good luck on all your plays. You can use the promo code birthday30 for Andy Lang at wagertalk.com. Promo code birthday30. Celebrate my birthday week. $30 off a 7-day pass was $99 discounted to $69 at checkout. Steve is over at Sports Memo. Promo code hoops50, $50 off 30-day pass on college and NBA. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Good luck. We'll be back tomorrow on the Road to Millions. Let's have a fun, profitable Thursday night, and we will be doing Bankroll Reset Day tomorrow. Spoiler alert, it's going fantastic. We're going to have a lot of fun
Nice.
on Bankroll Reset Day. So good luck on all your plays. We'll see everyone tomorrow on the Road to Millions.
Good luck tonight.